Miss Reed, Molly Clavering, O. Douglas. What do these three British women writers have in common? Well, their warmth, wit, and charm have drawn me in and have made me love them. And they, along with a handful of others, I am going to be sharing in today's video of British women writers who I am discovering and loving. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to part 2 of my British Women Writers series. In part 1 of this series, I shared some of my tried and true British women writers that I love, that I have read, that are just the ones that I come back to, that feel comforting, feel like home to me. But they are not the only British women writers that I love by far. And I had said I was going to be putting out a part 2 of this series. And as I was working on today's video, I realized that I have enough authors to put together at least 3 more videos. And so that is what we are going to do, friends. In fact, we may just turn this into a women writers series so that I can share with you some of the other women writers that I love from outside the British Isles, because there are so many wonderful women writers out there, many of whom I think have been overlooked or forgotten, and I want to bring them to your attention. So this is part 2, but this is not the finale. So I hope that you are enjoying these and that you will come along with me as we journey through not only British women writers, but just women writers in general. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the British women writers who I have discovered over the past 4 to 5 years and who have really become favorites and authors that I want to read everything that they have written, but that I haven't yet read a lot of their work. So while I can speak to the books that I have read by them, of course, there are quite a few by each of these authors that I have not yet read. And I would love it if all of you would chime in the comments and let me know where to go next with some of these if you have read on with them. Some of them do have series that, of course, I am reading in order, but others have lots of standalone books, and so please tell me what I should read next. But as I was putting together the list of British women writers that I have been discovering, it became such a long list that actually this part of the video series is a series unto itself. So this is going to be broken into 2 parts because I have so many authors to get through. I have 10 to share with you today, and then I have, I believe, 9 or 10 more to share in an upcoming video. So grab yourself a cuppa. We have a lot of authors and books to talk about today. I'm so excited to share them with you. So grab your notepad and a pen if you want, and let us dive into these British women writers that I am discovering and falling in love with. The first author I have to share with you today is one that should come to no surprise to anyone who has been watching my videos for any length of time. She was a very good friend of D.E. Stevenson, and her writing style is very, very similar to D.E. Stevenson's. So if you love D.E. Stevenson, and if you missed my author spotlight video on her, you can check that out here. I will have it linked in the cards and in the description box below. But again, if you love D.E. Stevenson, you are going to also love Molly Clavering. I first read Near Neighbors a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I loved it so much. I mean, it was instant love. This novel had me from the first page to the last. I absolutely loved it. We are following a spinster, and her very overbearing sister has just passed away, and suddenly her life starts to open up as a result of that. And there's a family who lives next door to her. They're a large family. They're quite gregarious. They're always coming and going, and our main character, Dorothea Balfour, is very much enamored of them and starts to become immersed in their lives a little bit. And we just follow along with Dorothea as her life really starts to change and open up. She's quite elderly, and I just think it's a lovely story of how it is never too late to find yourself, to find your place in the world, to discover purpose in your life. And I just think it's a lovely, lovely sentiment. I love this book so much. And then we ended up actually reading this for one of our Book Jenny's quarterly read-alongs, and I was so excited that they picked this book, and it was lovely to revisit it. So I have already reread this book, even though I only first read it about a year ago. That's how much I love this book and love Molly Clavering. I have since gone on to read 3 more of Molly Clavering's books. I have read Dear Hugo, Mrs. Lorimer's Quiet Summer, and Susan Settles Down. And I absolutely adore them all. They are fabulous. Molly Clavering is such a wonderful writer. As I said, if you're a fan of D.E. Stevenson, you will love Molly Clavering. And if you are intrigued to give Molly Clavering a try, we are actually going to be reading one of her novels for the Cozy Reader Book Club in July. We are reading Love Comes Home. And I'll just read you quickly what it says on the back. Jane Cranston is having a lovely time with friends in England and has just been proposed to by the charming John Marsh when she is summoned home to Scotland to welcome her young sister Love, newly returned from being finished in Paris. Keeping her engagement a secret and drawn back into an endless round of good works and dull county functions, Jane promptly gets off on the wrong foot with Peregrine Gilbert, a local politician and naturalist, and soon falls prey to Love's inveterate and incompetent matchmaking. Supported by a lively and vividly portrayed cast of family and friends, Jane must steer carefully to avoid the pitfalls of misunderstandings, gossip, and misguided romance. Very much looking forward to this one. If you want to join us, the link to join the Cozy Reader Book Club Substack is always down in the description box below. That is how you will join the group and get the email notifications with our group discussion information every month. But we would love to have you join us. So this is probably going to be my next Molly Clavering, but I do have 2 others of hers on my shelf still to read, and that is Because of Sam and Touch Not the Nettle. So I have both of these to read as well. I just adore her. Her books are wonderful, and D.E. Stevenson fans should definitely not miss out on reading Molly Clavering. Next up is an author that probably many of you are familiar with her name if you have not yet read her, and that is Angela Thirkell. Is it Thirkell? Is it Thirkell? I am not sure. Does anybody know for sure? I used to say Thirkell, but then I hear a lot of people say Thirkell, so that's what I've been going with. So we'll go with it for this video, but let me know if I'm incorrect in the comments below. High Rising is the first novel in her Barsetshire series, and Barsetshire is based on the Barsetshire Chronicles by Anthony Trollope, though these books have nothing to do with that other than they're set in the same location. That's really their only connection. She sort of took Anthony Trollope's location and she put her stories in that area of England. High Rising is the first book in that series. It made me absolutely fall in love with Angela Thirkell's writing. See, I wanted to say Thirkell again there. And I have just kind of been going along from there, reading through the series. So I have to date read High Rising, Wild Strawberries, and The Demon in the House. I've also read Christmas at High Rising, which kind of just stands on its own. It is just a bunch of sort of holiday short stories set around the characters from High Rising. So very lovely. I think you can just read that one after you read High Rising or at any time. It's perfect for the winter time, Christmas holidays, all of that. Makes for a lovely read at that time of year, but I'm very much enjoying working my way through Angela Thirkell's novels. I am on August Folly. That is the next book of hers I have to read in the Barsetshire series. I'll insert a picture here of all of the editions of her books that I currently have on my shelf. I have quite a few. I just pick them up when I find them. So if I see a secondhand copy or come across one somewhere in great condition, then I snatch it up regardless of what number it is in the series. I feel like this is a series you can read out of order because while the books are sort of all set in the same world, it's not necessarily like a continuing story per se. Again, in the comments, if you've read a lot of the Barsetshire series, let me know. But I believe I have just read things where people have recommended different books from the series and no one has said, oh, you need to have read all the books before this one in order to enjoy this. I think you can read them out of order. I'm just going through them in order so that I don't miss any because I want to read them all. But highly recommend Angela Thirkell. She is fabulous. Again, that very much village life, slice of life, the relationships of her characters, a little bit of romance, light romance. So yes, if that appeals to you, then definitely give her a try. Next up is a British women writer that you may not be as familiar with, but she is one that I am slowly discovering and I think is also going to become a new favorite of mine. I really loved the second book of hers that I read, but that is Elizabeth Cadell. And the first book of hers that I read was The Friendly Air. We read this for the Cozy Reader Book Club way back early on in our inception of the group. And I think the consensus was that we enjoyed Elizabeth Cadell's writing. The story in this is a little uneven. So there were things we enjoyed about it, things we did not, but her writing was truly lovely. And then I read The Corner Shop by Elizabeth Cadell and absolutely loved it. And in this one, we follow a woman who runs a secretarial agency. She's having trouble with a client who she keeps sending secretaries to, and they keep leaving within a few hours or a day. And finally, she takes it upon herself to go and see him and meet him, and he's quite a personality. We'll just say that. And she does this on the way to her holiday, which she spends in France, where she takes over her aunt's shop that her aunt runs, so her aunt can take a holiday. So it's not really a holiday for her necessarily, but all this transpires and you kind of just follow along with what happens to her. There are some missing paintings, there's a French art expert who comes into play, and a lot of it takes place in Paris, and that is very fun. So I just thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was a romp, as you say. So if that sounds like a good read to you, I think this would make a perfect summer read because, again, our main character, Lucille, is on holiday. So, you know, it's got that sort of summer holiday feel to it. Absolutely love this. And then next up by Elizabeth Cadell, I really think I want to read The Lark Shall Sing. And this is the first book in a trilogy of hers. And the trilogy is called The Wains of Woodmount. Sorry, I had to check my notes on that. And I have heard wonderful things about this. My lovely friend Kate Howe has raved about this trilogy, so I'm very much excited to read this one. And then I have managed to track down some older vintage editions of her books because a lot of her books are hard to find and aren't in print currently. So I also have The Fledgling, which it's hard to see because there is no, there it is, The Fledgling. I have also The Round Dozen, and then A Lion in the Way. So I have those three as well to read by her. Let me know, should I prioritize any of those if you have read Elizabeth Cadell? But again, she is such a fun writer. I think she's got a little bit of a pacier feel to her than somebody like Molly Clavering or D.E. Stevenson, but still a similar style. It's very light in tone. It is almost as if D.E. Stevenson and Mary Stewart got together and wrote a book. I think that's the best way I can describe it, at least of the couple of books of hers that I've read so far. So a little bit more pacey, action-filled necessarily than a D.E. Stevenson book, which is just a little bit more slice of life. But yes, I'm very much enjoying discovering Elizabeth Cadell and getting to know her even better. Next up is an author who has just become such a comfort read to me, and I cannot wait to explore more of her books. And unfortunately, I don't have any physical books by her. She's out of print, but she's easy to find in ebook format, so that is a good thing. And that author is O. Douglas. And so far, I have only read 2 books by O. Douglas, but I adored both of them. I first read Penny Plain, which we read with the Cozy Reader Book Club, and I think everybody loved it. It was, again, very much slice of life, village life, and our main character was so likable and you just wanted to root for her and wish good things for her. And then I read Olivia in India, which is actually an epistolary novel, and I think it was O. Douglas's very first novel, I believe. very much based on her own life. She traveled to India to visit her brother and stayed with him for quite some time. And so this is all written as if the Olivia of the story is writing to a young man that she is friends with, romantically involved with. You'll have to read the story and find out. But it was just pure escapism. I absolutely adored it. And my plan is to read Pink Sugar next. Now, I've heard conflicting things from people. So Penny Plain is part of the Priorsford trilogy, of which Pink Sugar is one and Priorsford is another. Now, Priorsford is a direct sequel to Penny Plain. But Pink Sugar takes place, I believe, in the same town and involves some of the same characters, but is a separate story, more like a prequel, I believe. So I think I'm going to read that one first and then go back and read Priorsford. I think that's what I'm in the mood to do. I think I just want to visit some other characters and then go back to the characters in Penny Plain. Also, I believe that one starts in the winter time, so I think I'm going to kind of hold off on that one till a little bit later in the year, but I'm going to read Pink Sugar hopefully very, very soon. But again, I am just falling in love with O. Douglas. Tell me what you've read by her. Tell me which of her books you've loved. I have a set of 10 of her books on ebook, and I believe it's still available on Kindle for only $3 or $4. It's very cheap and you get a bunch of her novels. So if you want to try her out, that is a great way to do it. I will have a link to that down in the description box, so be sure to check that out. Definitely let me know your recommendations for which O. Douglas books you love and where I should go after I read Pink Sugar and Priorsford. And now we are coming to an author who I have only read one book by her so far, but I was just completely overcome with how much I loved this book, and I cannot wait to read more by her. And that is Dorothy Whipple. And this is Someone at a Distance. This is the Persephone edition, and I absolutely loved this story. In this, we follow Ellen. She's been happily married for many, many years. She has grown children. And then they put in an advertisement for some help around the house, and a French girl comes to work with them and threatens her happy marriage. And we follow along with what happens to her and the family throughout this story, and it is incredibly well done. Ellen had my heart from the get-go, and I was rooting for her the entire time, and Dorothy Whipple does not let you down. I just really felt like Ellen's story played out in the most wonderful way. I was just completely drawn in. Now, I will say this isn't necessarily as light and maybe cozy / comforting as some of the other books and authors that I have already shared with you, but it still has this wonderful domestic quality to it and this sort of family life, slice of life, following this woman whose life is kind of unfortunately falling to pieces around her, and just sort of how she handles that with quite a bit of grace. And it's really just a wonderful story. And I have High Wages by Dorothy Whipple on my shelves to read, which I've heard amazing things about. So I really want to get to that one soon. But what else have you read by Dorothy Whipple? What else should I get to add to my TBR? I would love to know, because I'm very excited to discover more of her writing, because I can't recommend Someone at a Distance enough. It is fabulous. Next up is an author. One of her books has become one of my very, very favorite coming of age books. And the other book is so incredibly different from that. I don't know if this speaks to what the rest of her books are like, but if these two are any indication, she has quite a breadth and depth to her writing style, and I'm excited to discover more of her. And that author is Dorothy Evelyn Smith, and this is Oh, the Brave Music, which was actually my second book by her. And this is the coming of age novel that I have compared to books like I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith and A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Wow, lots of Smiths. I did not realize that until just this moment. Is that a thing? Do Smiths like to write coming of age stories? Interesting. Sorry, minor digression there. Anyway, if you like either of those two coming of age stories, you need to read Oh, the Brave Music. It is it's such a delight. Ruanne Ashley is our main character in this, and I just adored her. Following her story was just so lovely. And I think this is one where you just need to go into it. It's set right on the cusp, I believe, of the First World War. Yes. And so that's really all you need to know. Coming of age story set before World War I, and just dive in. Dive in. If you enjoy coming of age stories, you will love this one. And then the other book by Dorothy Evelyn Smith, which was actually the first book of hers that I read, was Miss Plum and Miss Penny. And I actually read this for Spinster September, I believe 2 years ago. And it is about what it says on the cover. It's about Miss Plum and Miss Penny. They are a bit like the odd couple, kind of. They are sort of thrown together. They end up living together, and they are very different women. And you just sort of follow along with their friendship and what happens to them. And, again, it was just really a lovely kind of slice of life story. Oh, and actually I should have said Miss Penny, is it Miss Penny? Yes, Miss Penny is the spinster in this, and Miss Plum is actually quite a bit younger. So we have a friendship of women of different ages, different backgrounds, very much different personalities. It's just kind of what happens. And this was, again, another really delightful read. So if you enjoy a spinster novel, I definitely recommend this one. And now I need to know where to go next with Dorothy Evelyn Smith. I'm not sure what else of hers is in print. I need to look that up because I haven't done as much digging into her books as I have done with some of these other authors, but I really want to read more of her just because I love Oh the Brave Music so very much. I want to read more by her. So if you have read other books by her, please let me know what I should read next and try to get my hands on. And again, I'm not sure what else of hers is in print, but I'm going to be doing some research on that very soon. Next up is an author who's probably best known for her children's books, though she did write quite a few adult novels under a pseudonym, and that is Noel Streatfeild and Susan Scarlett. I adored the Shoes books growing up. I, of course, read Ballet Shoes, and I also read Dancing Shoes and Theater Shoes and Skating Shoes, and I'm not sure that I read Movie Shoes, but I found this beautiful vintage edition not too long ago, and I'm very much looking forward to it. This is about a movie being made of The Secret Garden, so I love that connection, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. Now, for her adult novels that she wrote as Susan Scarlett. So far, I've only read one, and unfortunately, it was a bit of a miss, and that was Pirouette. So I am not recommending this book. We, again, read this for the Cozy Reader Book Club, and none of us enjoyed it. It's got some really unlikable characters, and I thought I would love this. It's set in the dance world, in the world of ballet, and I did not. It has just about the worst stage mother that you could possibly imagine in it. She is the worst, the absolute worst, and it was really hard to get past that. So I don't recommend this one, but I do want to read more of her novels that she wrote under her Susan Scarlett pseudonym. I've heard wonderful things about Babacombs and Clothes Pegs, and I have Sally Ann on my Kindle to read, so let me know if I should read that one next, or if maybe I should prioritize one of those other two that I mentioned, or if you have another Susan Scarlett recommendation, please let me know, because I really would love to read more of her books, because again, I love her children's books. They are wonderful. Can't recommend them enough. I think they're wonderful to read as an adult as well as for children. So definitely don't let that stop you from giving her a try. If you've never read Noel Streatfeild, you're in for a treat. Next up is an author that I think is a little bit on the quirky side. She has just got a unique point of view and writing style, and that author is Stella Gibbons. And that particularly applies to Cold Comfort Farm, which is an odd little book, but it is also oddly wonderful, and I cannot recommend it enough. We follow Flora Post. Flora is on her own in the world, and she's a young woman, and she goes to stay with her cousins, the Stark Adders, at Cold Comfort Farm. And the Stark Adders wow, are they a cast of characters? You really just have to dive in and meet them. And Flora coming into their world sort of disrupts everything, and really in the most delightful way. So this is such a funny book, and again, it's just a little bit quirky, but it is so, so wonderful. I can't recommend it enough. I do think maybe this isn't the book for every reader, but I recommend you give it a try and see if it might be for you, because you just never know. And this is also one where it might just be like the right book at the right time. So if you pick it up once and it doesn't quite work for you, maybe try it again if you might be in the mood for it in the future. I've also read 2 other books by her, which are all very different. The first is The Woods in Winter, and then I've also read The Swiss Summer. And actually it's funny because I didn't love either of these as much as I love Cold Comfort Farm. This is by far and away my favorite Stella Gibbons, and definitely, I mean, one of my favorite books for sure. The Woods in Winter, we again read this for the Cozy Reader Book Club. A lot of Cozy Reader Book Club picks coming up on this list. I didn't love it as much as some of the other book club members did. I didn't love our main character as much. Some of the descriptions in here are fabulous, and I enjoyed some of the like minor characters, but overall this was just okay for me. And then The Swiss Summer, again, there were some characters I enjoyed, some I didn't, but her descriptions of the Swiss Alps are just so wonderful. And I think this book is worth reading for that alone. Just those descriptions and that setting, and again, makes a perfect summertime read. So if you're looking for something very summery, this is a great one to pick. But again, it was a little bit on the slower side. So just keep that in mind. If you want something that's just a little bit more descriptive, a little slower in pace, then definitely pick up The Swiss Summer. But now I need to know where to go next with Stella Gibbons. I do have Christmas at Cold Comfort Farm, which is just a collection of short stories set at Christmas time at Cold Comfort Farm. So looking forward to hopefully getting to that this holiday season. So I'm not 100% sure where to go next with Stella Gibbons, but if you could recommend any of her books that might have a similar tone or style to Cold Comfort Farm, I would definitely be interested in that. So again, she's another one I need to do a little more research on to decide where I want to go next. Next up is an author who will come as no surprise to any of you because she is beloved by, I think, just about everyone who watches my channel. And I am still in the early stages of discovering her. A lot of you mentioned her in the comments of my first British Women Writers video. And the reason she didn't make it into that video is because I have only read 3 books by her so far. And while I loved those 3 books, I just don't feel like I'm an expert on her yet, and I know so many people are and have read everything she's written and reread it, and I'm just not quite there yet, so I am still in the discovery phase of this author. And enough with the chitter chatter, let me tell you who that is. That is Miss Reed. And this is Fresh from the Country, which is one of her standalone novels about a teacher, and it's lovely. I adored this book. And if you're not sure where to start with Miss Reed, if you don't know if you want to read Fairacre or Thrush Green, or you're not really ready to commit to a series, I definitely think read this one because it was a lovely standalone and will give you a feel for Miss Reed's writing. And if you like books about teachers or set in schools, then this is a wonderful one to pick up. And then I have read the first 2 books in the Fairacre series, which is, of course, Village School and Village Diary. And next up, I believe I have Storm in the Village as book 3, so I need to get to that one next. I haven't yet started Thrush Green. Miss Reed fans, tell me in the comments, should I start Thrush Green while I'm reading Fairacre? Will I get confused? Are they different enough? Let me know if I can start that one, because I found these wonderful Penguin editions of Thrush Green. I have Thrush Green, Battles at Thrush Green, Return to Thrush Green, Affairs at Thrush Green, and At Home in Thrush Green in these editions. And I would love to get started on them, but I don't want to get myself, have too many things going at once. So I don't know if I should continue on with Fairacre a little bit more and then move to Thrush Green, or if it really doesn't matter. So tell me in the comments what I should do. But Storm in the Village is definitely coming up very soon. Going to be on an upcoming pile of possibilities. You can bet that. But then I need to decide, should I start Thrush Green or should I hold off for a little bit? You guys let me know, and then I will decide what to do. But I mean, you just can't go wrong with Miss Reed, right? I am loving discovering her. And last but not least is an author who is very famous for one book, wrote another book that's also a very, very famous movie, but I think it's not known by everyone that she wrote the book that movie is based on. And then she has also written a number of other books that I think are definitely under the radar. And that author is Dodie Smith, who of course is probably most well known for I Capture the Castle, which is the quintessential coming of age novel and starts with the line, "I write this sitting in the kitchen sink." I mean, it's only going to get better from there, right? I think that is one of my favorite first lines of a novel ever, and I just adore this book. I have read it and reread it and watched the movie and all the good things. I cannot say enough wonderful things about I Capture the Castle. If you've never read it, please, please do. It is wonderful. Just great. Fantastic. Amazing. It makes for a good summer read, actually. I think it's lovely to read more time. I don't know why. I'm drawn to coming of age stories in kind of the spring summer transition. So this is actually the right time of year for this, I think. I mean, you can read it anytime. It's also good in the winter and the fall. Really anytime. But now's as good a time as any. But did you know that Dodie Smith is the author of the book, The 101 Dalmatians? Because I only found that out a few years ago. I did not know she wrote the book that the Walt Disney movies are based on. So if you didn't know that either, now you do. And the book is wonderful. If you've never read it, if you've only seen the Disney, either the animated or the live action versions, definitely read the book. And there's a sequel called Starlight Barking. And then she actually has another book about cats, which I really want to read because I think it's maybe set kind of in the world of the 101 Dalmatians, though I don't think they're involved in that book at all, but she has a book about cats and I definitely need to read that one too. But then I also have 2 more of her books on my shelf that I have not yet read that I really, really want to. They just sound fantastic. First up, I have A Tale of Two Families, and this is what it says it is. And it says, whenever June looked back on their early days in the country, she remembered sunshine, vividly green grass, budding trees, wonderful meals, and much laughter. Even when things went wrong, they went wrong amusingly. So I think we are going to follow May and her sister June. I love that. Sounds like May is worried that her husband is maybe having some dalliances on the side, and she convinces her sister to move in with them. They are moving to the country because she wants to get her husband out of the city. Anyway, so we're gonna follow along with the sisters and what happens to them. But yes, I think that sounds really good, doesn't it? And then I also have The Town in Bloom, which is about a young Lancashire girl who arrives in London intent on becoming an actress. I mean, what else do I need to know? You know I love books about the theater, set in the theater, about people involved in the theater, and so that's all I need to know. But I just feel like nobody talks about these books. I mean, it's all I Capture the Castle all the time. And maybe these aren't quite as good as that, but I still want to read them. They sound fabulous. So if you've read either of these, let me know. Did you enjoy them? Should I read them? Which one should I read next? I'm kind of thinking The Town in Bloom because you know how I feel about the theater. So I think that one's going to be next. But yes, if you haven't read Dodie Smith, please give her a read. And she has quite a few other books as well. And I'm really hoping that I enjoy these 2 that have been sitting on my shelf for a while now. And then I will move on and read more by her. All of these authors, I would love to read everything of theirs that I can get my hands on. Discovering all of these women who are writing in sort of the, pre-World War I to post-World War II time period has just been such an eye-opener to me. I just really drawn in to the stories those women were writing because I feel like they are still relevant today. And I feel like they can help us escape from the world we are in. They can also help us see how, while times have changed, times have still stayed the same in certain ways. And I think that's lovely to kind of look back and see where we were, see where we've come, see how maybe we haven't come as far as we have thought about some things. And I really think these books should still be read today. I think they are worthwhile reads. And some of them are cozy and comforting. Some of them are a little bit darker, but I think they all just make for such immersive reading experiences. And I cannot recommend them enough of the ones I have read, and I cannot wait to continue on with the ones that I have not. Let us talk all things British women writers down in the comments below. I would love to know answers to any of the questions I asked you guys about any of these authors and where I should go next with them. I would love to know if you've discovered a new author that I mentioned in this video. Do you have a favorite amongst these? Let's just talk all things British women writers. And I know, before you guys say anything at all in the comments, I know there are still a lot more British women writers who I have not mentioned yet. But I promise there's lots more to come. I haven't even touched on any British women mystery writers, but there's going to be a special video all about them, so stay tuned for that. There's still lots more to come, both in the British Women Writers series of videos that I am doing, as well as the larger Women Writers series that I'm going to be putting out in the months to come. I hope you have your notifications turned on and that you are subscribed so that you don't miss a thing. If you enjoyed this video, if you could hit that like button and also the hype button if you're on the YouTube mobile app. Oh, and I forgot to tell you what kind of emojis to leave in the comments if you're here, but you don't have anything that you'd like to add, but you'd like to let me know you were here. Why don't you leave me your top 5 emojis that you use? You know how when your recently used emojis come up on your phone device or what have you? Leave me the top emojis that you use. I would love to see those. You know, just for fun. Thank you all so much for being here and for taking time out of your day to spend it with me in my cozy corner of BookTube. I will be back as always with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye.